Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Robert Frost, just wonderful. Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. Our church is located here in the heart of the walkable, cool Tarpon Springs Historic District and is known as the home of the Innes paintings. My name is Judy Lucarelli, and I am the new membership committee chair, and today I'm serving as your worship associate. We are a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us in person or over Zoom. All persons attending in the church building must wear a mask. We encourage everyone, both here and at home, to join us for our annual congregational meeting in this room at the conclusion of the service. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. As such, ours is an active church, and everyone is invited to participate in any of our activities, whether you are a member or not. To learn more about events, our church calendar is on the website, uutarpon.org, or you can discuss activities with church members. Although our children are not with us during the service at this time, we do have faith formation programming available with our gifted leader, Jami Cruz. Children are gathering for their time together with her and a member of the congregation and meeting just outside the social hall. If you'd like more information about our programming, please contact Reverend Kristina or see Jami after the service. For guests present with us here in the building, we have connection cards available in the pews near the hymnals. If you fill one out and put it in the offering plate or give it to one of our greeters, we will be able to be in touch with you and connect you with the programs you indicate are of interest. We're delighted to have our very own Reverend Kristina Spaude leading the service today, and music is provided by our music director, Bonnie Whitehurst. Bonnie will be singing throughout the service, and you're welcome to sing along with the songs and hymns while wearing your masks. Again, welcome. May we begin today's service. We light our chalice with these words from Maureen Killeran. The poet Langston Hughes has written, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." May this chalice flame challenge each of us to cherish our dreams, for all things worth doing begin in the courage and inspiration of a dream.
And now let us sing together, Spirit of Life. Number 1, 2, 3 in the gray book or in your teal hymnal attached. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Giving life the shape of justice, roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our story today is The Good Egg by Jory John and Pete Oswald. Oh, hello. I was just rescuing this cat. This is an egg after my own heart. Know why? Because I am a good egg. A very good egg. It's true. I do all kinds of good things, like I'll carry your groceries, I'll water your plants, I'll change your tires, I'll paint your house. And if you need any help whatsoever, I'm your egg. I've always been a good egg. It's been this way from the start, even in my earliest days back at the store. There were a dozen of us living together under one recycled roof. There was Meg, and Peg, and Greg, and Clegg, and Shell, and Shelley, and Sheldon, and Shelby, and Egbert, and Frank, and other Frank. The other 11 eggs weren't on their best behavior. They weren't exactly good. They ignored their bedtime. They only ate sugary cereal. They threw tantrums. They cried for no reason. They broke all their stuff on purpose. Meanwhile, I tried to take charge. I tried to fix their bad behavior. I tried to keep the peace because I was a good egg. A Very good egg. Nobody seemed to care though. Every night I was exhausted. My head felt scrambled. Then one fateful morning I noticed some cracks in my shell. Yikes. They were everywhere. My doctor said it was from all the pressure I was putting on myself, the pressure of making sure everybody was as good as me. I was cracking up, literally. Something had to change. I'd had enough. I told Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelley and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and other Frank that I was leaving. I can't be the only good egg in a bad carton, I said. Blah, 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 they replied. I left that night. I wandered from town to town. The hours became days. The days became weeks. I lost track of time. I was alone. Out there on the road, under the stars, I really tried to focus on myself and what I needed. I took walks. I read books. I floated on the river. I wrote in my journal. I found simple moments to be quiet. I breathed in. I breathed out. I even started painting. For once, I found time for me. And guess what? Little by little, the cracks in my shell started to heal. My head no longer felt scrambled. I started to feel like myself again. So I've made a big decision. I'm returning to my old carton and my friends. Besides, kind of lonely out here. This time, I know what I need to do. I'll try not to worry so much. I'll be good to my fellow eggs while also being good to myself. Here we go. Everybody missed me. I missed them too. Howdy, Meg. Hello, Peg. Hey, Greg. Greetings, Clegg. What's up, Shell? Aloha, Shelly. Hey-yo, Sheldon. Hi, Shelby. Good day, Egbert. What's happening, Frank? How do you do, other Frank? Sure, every once in a while, somebody's still a little bit bad, but it's not like it was before. Here's what I realized. The other eggs aren't perfect, and I don't have to be either. I'm okay with that. Yep, the old carton is back together. We're a solid dozen again. It's good to be home.
This is a song called Choices by George Jones, who usually tells a story with his songs. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices that told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. I was tempted by an early age. I found I like drinking. Oh, and I never turned it down. There were loved ones, but I turned them all with the choices I've made. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices that told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. I guess I'm paying for the things that I have done. If I could go back, Lord knows I'd run, but I'm still losing this game of life I played, living and dying with the choices I've made. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices that told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made. Living and dying with the choices I've made.
Now is the time in the service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. Ours is a free faith which must sustain itself financially. To contribute, please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click the Donate button, or you may mail your offering to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. For those of you with us in person, we ask that you place your offering in the offering plates as they come around or as you exit the church.
I choose to love. I choose to feel. I choose to come alive and die. I choose to heal. I choose to stand and walk clear and free. I choose to look inside and love the life in me. I choose to speak as clearly as I know. I choose to work with you and build a loving flow. I choose to look deep within your eyes. I choose to know your soul, your worth. I realize I choose to be all that I can be. I will reach up as high and far as I can see. I see the world as our paradise and home. Divine Mother rocks us all as we grow. I choose choose to breathe every breath in peace, joining with all life and learning perfect harmony. I choose to love. I choose to feel. I choose to come alive, and I choose to heal.
Our reading today comes from the newsletter Things That Don't Suck, from the brilliant poet Andrea Gibson. This is Love Doesn't Live in the Shallow End, the fear that kept me from going deep. A rock lives in my foot. A small pebble has a permanent home in my left big toe. It moved in 6 summers ago while I was on a date on a beach in Queens. My partner Meg and I had just started smooching, and she worships the ocean. I do too, but as I don't worship shark attacks, jellyfish stings, undertows, or tsunamis, I'm more cautious than Meg when it comes to kneeling at the salt water altar. If Meg had her way, she'd spend years out to sea, surfing a small piece of driftwood, living on seaweed, barnacle hugs, and sunshine. 5 minutes into our beach date, Meg started swimming for the horizon and pleaded with me to come with her, tempting me with the sexiest of swim moves, the breaststroke. I wanted to follow her all the way to the next continent, but I didn't dare. You go, I said. I'm happy here. Please, she begged. But I couldn't. Or I thought I couldn't. Hugging the shoreline, water barely past my waist, I took comfort knowing that my drowning risk was minimal and shark attack possibilities were drastically reduced. From the shallow end, I watched Meg get pummeled by waves in the deep end. Each time, I'd be almost certain that she was a goner until her head would emerge in a jack-in-the-box kind of laughter. Yes, I had FOMO, fear of missing out. But more than that, I had foddered, fear of dying a ridiculously horrible death. From where I was, I knew I could sprint to a higher elevation the second a tsunami reared its terrible head. Knew a shark would need to grow feet to catch me. I was celebrating my survival odds when it happened. A wave hit Meg. And just as her smile resurfaced, I saw the wave wasn't slowing down or getting any smaller. I tried to run, but it was a Hulk Hogan of a wave, and I was a kid who the picked on kids picked on. Within seconds, I was wrestled to the ocean floor, which might have been okay had I actually hit the ocean floor, but I didn't. I hit something hard and sharp. Peering into the blood-stained water, I spotted a giant concrete block with chains spilling out of its center like intestines. I limped back to my beach towel, looking like a shark had eaten my left big toe and spat it back onto my foot. If only I'd been in the deep end, I thought. The water would have broken my fall. If only I'd not tried so hard to stay safe, I would have been safe. The date ended early with Meg carrying me back to the car, a red carpet of regret trailing behind me. When I cleaned the wound, one pebble remained embedded in my foot. I suppose I could have had it removed, but I kept it as a reminder. Sometimes being your own lifeguard means encouraging yourself toward the deep end, following love all the way to the horizon and beyond. Love, Andrea. We are right here on the tippy toes of January. If we stretch far enough, we can still grasp just a little bit of it. New Year's Day seems like an eternity ago, doesn't it? But we have no doubt it's January here with this weather we've been having. I don't know who's laughing now that I kept my winter gear when I moved down here, but I am sure glad I did. Early January is when so many people make New Year's resolutions. I gave this up a while ago because the idea just didn't resonate with me much. Some of my colleagues and friends in recent years have taken to choosing a word or theme for themselves for the year in place of an actual resolution. I wasn't connecting with anything in particular this year and tried an automatic theme word generator a couple of weeks ago. On my fourth attempt, it offered me party, and I decided maybe I should not invest too much more concern in figuring out what my word might be this year. More than other Januaries or whatever marker of time we want to use, not that any of that seems particularly relevant anymore. This year, I've been just thinking about intentions and what purpose they serve in our lives. Intention setting is clearly the kind of thing that works for some and doesn't work for others. And in a time like this one, how much do they even matter? It's kind of like, have you ever walked into a store and just been completely overwhelmed? That happens to me sometimes. My mom loves to go to thrift stores and consignment shops and stuff, and it is such a struggle for me. I have to be in the mood and or have a mission, and we have to do it in small doses. Like I can go to one store. Even if there's something in particular that I'm looking for, I need to slow it down and take everything in one piece at a time. Of course, it's usually a little bit better if I have a mission or goal when I'm shopping. Like when I'm forced to shop for a new purse, there are always about 10,000 options that I have to go through before I get what I'm looking for. But it's actually easy for me to do because what I want is something of a particular size and a particular look, and most of what's available is not that. They're too big or too small, not black, or have too much bling, or have too much bling somewhere, or whatever. They're just a mess. And it's so easy for me to sift through all of that because there's a lot of like, nope, going on with the options. But throw me in that consignment shop and you could probably just about watch my brain melt down. It kind of looks like I'm the kind of person, at least in some areas, where if the purpose isn't clear, I get easily overwhelmed. We all make bunches of decisions every day. Bless my mom, she's getting a lot of airtime in this service. She spends what I think is an inordinate amount of time every day wondering what they'll be having for dinner. Call in the morning, I don't know what we're having for dinner yet. But we make choices not only about what to eat or what to wear, but what to do, about what routes to take over and over. We are making decisions. Some of us tend to try to make habits of some of this to eliminate the need for having to make new decisions about things, to limit the mental and emotional tax that comes with having to make so many decisions. We start moving on a virtual autopilot. Raising kids, some work environments, caring for parents and grandparents or others, caring for animals, home care, homelessness, car care, caring for ourselves, church life, all sorts of things can create surprise or unexpected situations that are not what we had planned for and kick us out of autopilot mode. I've been watching a lot of Queer Eye lately. It's a show about the Fabulous Five, all gay men and a non-binary person, who specialize in different aspects of living. They get asked to go into these situations where the nominated person has somehow gotten stuck in their life. Often there's an emotional component to underlying the stuckness, but they are so on autopilot that it's taking a huge toll on their ability to function in meaningful and healthy ways. Each of the Fab Five work their magic, teaching the nominee about food and cooking, hairstyling and skincare, fashion and appearance, culture and relationships, and design of their home and or workspace. They spend time with the nominee to help them move through some of what has gotten and kept them stuck, and offer a complete makeover of their lives so that they can be their best selves and actually have a life that feels worth living. Their approach is always simple. Learn as much as they can about the person, show them that there are different choices, teach them how to engage with the choices, and always make sure that they are pushing the person as far to the edge of their comfort zone as they can to help the person grow, all while loving them up. The narrow focus or tunnel vision that can happen in all of our lives can come to be for a variety of reasons. Some may be related to mental, emotional, spiritual, and or physical health, depression and trauma, chronic illnesses or conditions, even things like disordered eating and other conditions can all impact not only our ability to view options, but also our ability to act on them. Where we have privilege in our lives, this too can impact us into having few options to need to choose from. I don't spend time clipping coupons and looking to see where I might get the best deal on whatever items this week as I plot my shopping route. Or we may start making ourselves small to accommodate other people. I'm sure all of us have been in some relationship, either with family, partners, in the workplace, or elsewhere, where we aren't able to be our full selves. And so we find ourselves slowly removing parts of our identities to fit into spaces that only want some parts of who we are, and we can check the rest of it at the door. Any of this can lead us to feeling increasingly stuck in our lives. Not many of us have the opportunity to have 5 fabulous people who are experts in aspects of living come into our lives for a week, shake us up, encourage us through the different hard things, and do a whirlwind makeover that sets us off in a different direction. Although if any of you would like to nominate me, I won't take it personally. Some of us basically have to work it out by ourselves. Of course, there are always resources. I've had resources, but I've also paid enough attention to my journey as I've been on it for the last almost 20 years to have had that make a big impact. My life has always clearly revolved around relationships, although for a good chunk of my life, they weren't necessarily healthy relationships. And this was fairly obvious looking back on the way that I was in those relationships, as you can from a distance. Earlier in my life, my relationships had a strong component that was about meeting my unconscious needs. As I got older and wiser, I suppose, my relationships began to transform. as I began to take ownership of my needs and my roles in my relationships, as I learned to take care of others in healthy and more appropriate ways, all my relationships began to change little by little. I started to make more choices about my relationships and my intentions for my life. Experiences began inviting me to deeper spirituality, which led me to exploring a deeper religious life. Realizations about needing to take responsibility for my actions and to move beyond reacting led to transformations within myself and in my relationships. While I never had words for much of it, I am a very intuitive person, sometimes frustratingly so. I knew that I had what I needed so long as I paid attention and listened to both what I was hearing and what I was saying. Complacency in our lives can set in at any age and for any of a wide variety of reasons, including a pandemic coming into the end of its second year, and that will not end the way we had once expected and hoped it would. A colleague recently shared a story about growing up in rural Minnesota. She said that when they were expecting a blizzard, the farmers all had long ropes that they would tie from their back doors to their barn doors. That way, even when they couldn't see through the storm, they could get back and forth to the barn to tend their cattle and other animals safely. It made me wonder, what are the ropes in our lives that we tie who and where we are with what we most value or prize? How can we be sure that we are moving between the two of them the way we intended, even under the worst or most extreme of circumstances? Perhaps we have been the kind of person who says yes to everything, wanting to give of ourselves or to whatever we value, even to the point of wearing ourselves out completely. Or because saying yes seems like the easier thing to do, or because it's our way of avoiding conflict with others. Perhaps we have been the kind of person who says no to everything, out of fear of change or the risk that comes with vulnerability, or because we've gotten so stuck in an inward turning spiral that we haven't even noticed how it is harming or limiting us. In any of these cases, we may have a rope to set up or just ignore it as we go about the yeses and nos we say. Like the good egg, I've been there. I know what that's like. But leaning into the fact that there is a rope, that there is a direct way to connect between our actions and our values, is a way to move into living with intention, one that feels satisfying in our heart of hearts, that gives us some sense of meaning. With each yes and no we say in our lives, we have the opportunity to choose if that yes or no will keep us holding to the rope or wandering in the blizzard. Instead of acting through habit, pausing to examine our actions and hopes can let us reconnect with what is most important to us. Like the good egg, we may decide we need to take a break. Vacations and retreats can be very helpful for this, but are not always readily available. This is one reason why ministers are strongly recommended to have spiritual practices and to keep Sabbaths. They give us a moment of pause to slow down and recenter ourselves, nourishing our needs to continue the work we are called to do. I invite you today to consider your yeses and nos as you go through your days and your weeks, as you attend meetings, and when you're doing the work of this congregation. Ask how it is feeding and supporting you and your hopes. your values. Ask if it is helping you to grow or keeping you stuck, or if it is giving you a chance to rest when you've not stopped moving. Follow what brings you to life, what brings you closer to love on that horizon and beyond. If you would please join me in singing our closing hymn, number 6 in the gray hymnal. Just as long as I have breath. Again, that's number 6.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though the pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Our closing words today come from Jean Harrison Newyar, who has written in The Gift of Faith. In the lore of ancient China, there's a story of a philosopher who was asked, "Where is the road called hope?" He replied, "It does not exist, but as people move forward upon it, it comes into being." I invite you to continue moving forward and creating this intentional, well-loved path called hope with me.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars. May you climb on every rung, and may you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong, and may you stay forever young. Forever feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung, and may you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young.
We hope you have found meaning in today's service. We close with these words by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. When we take the fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying their power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world. The annual meeting will begin now, both in the church and over Zoom, with a short break to adjust